Okay, what we have here is a human cadaver. Cadavers are used by medical schools and for training medical students, of course, and also health professionals such as the nursing students we have here. They are donated bodies. The bodies are prepared in such a way that the blood is exsanguinated, removed, and preservative is infused so that as long as the cadaver is kept from drying out, it will be preserved for quite a long time. This one, as you will see, is a little bit dry, but has some very good anatomy nevertheless. What I'm going to be doing is uncovering from the neck on down, and as I do so, I'll be removing skin that was just replaced in order that the cadaver might not dry out quite so much. There we go. Okay, we'll start with the muscles that you see. Now, in terms of dissecting a cadaver, it's fairly tedious work. What you have to do is, again, remove the skin, as you can see has already been done, and then the fascia that covers the muscle, that's the connective tissue, has to be removed, and in effect, it's pulled away, and a good dissection is judged by how well you can see the fibers of the various muscles, and you can see the direction of fibers quite easily here. So we have a nice dissection of the muscles to work with. I want to name the muscles for you, starting with this obvious one, pectoralis major. Don't forget, every muscle tells you something about its name. For example, pectoralis major is the big one of the chest wall. It's a flexor muscle. It also adducts the arms. When I remove it, and I can do so completely, I see under here a remnant of the pectoralis minor, the small muscle that can lift the ribs as when we take a big inspiration, or it can pull the shoulders down as when we say pull something from above on down. It can do either of those. Here we see pectoralis major. Again, you can see the long skeletal muscle fibers in this direction. Let's go down to the abdominal muscles. These are the dissected rectus abdominis muscles. And if you know what a six-pack stomach is, well, what we have here is those skeletal muscles. They're interrupted by connective tissue, and that gives that appearance where each segment can be contracted. Over here, dissected away, we have the, let me just move the chest wall here up out of the way. We have the external abdominal oblique, or the external oblique muscle. You can see the fibers coming in this direction. Deep to it, we have the internal abdominis oblique, or internal oblique. And if you look closely, you'll see that the fibers go in at right angles to each other. These external muscle fibers in this direction, and these ones in this direction. And deep to this, but not dissected away, is a thin muscle layer, and that would be the transversus abdominis muscle. All three of those preserving the contents of the abdomen in the proper place. Okay, this is the muscle that I bet you would recognize, the biceps brachii. Biceps means two heads. Here we have one head, the tendon to it. Here's the tendon to the second head. Of course, they merge here in the belly of the muscle. This is the insertion, which inserts into the radius and into connective tissue in the forearm. And as I'm sure you know, the biceps muscle is capable of flexing the forearm, as I'm illustrating for you. Posterior to it, what we have here is triceps brachii, and not so easily seen, but it oppositely extends the forearm, and that's very typical. A muscle on one side will do one thing. The muscle on the opposite side will have an opposite action. Down here in the forearm, we can just enjoy the beauty of the forearm. The muscles here have long tendons and attached to the fingers on either the posterior or the anterior side, so that we can say that the hand is a very delicate instrument, but it's strong. It's strong because it's cable operated. The mass of the muscles is in the posterior and anterior forearm. Let's take a look at these. Well, this muscle is sort of a landmark. Let me hold it up for you. This is brachioradialis, beginning in the brachium, going down to the radius. We can see it's tendon here, it actually flexes the forearm. And in the posterior side, again, we can notice those long tendons so that the strength is here, the delicacy is up here. These muscles, tendons, are held down by what is called the extensor retinaculum. It's dense, regular connective tissue that prevents a bowing out of the tendons as we hyperextend the hand. But anyhow, let's take a look here. Right dead center is the extensor digitorum, and it does what its name suggests. It extends the digits. To the side, we have extensor carpi ulnaris, and its name tells you that it extends the wrist on the ulnar side, and that's what it does. When we extend the wrist, of course, we extend the whole hand. Right here we have extensor carpi radialis, which also extends the hand, but it's on the radial side, the thumb side. These two muscles move the thumb. You can see them moving out obliquely towards the thumb that you see here. Okay, well, let's move down to the thigh and the leg and take a look at the muscles that you see here. First, the big quadriceps femoris, which means the foreheads of the femoral region. This is rectus femoris. It comes down, and it's got a tendon here that encloses the patella, which is called a sesamoid bone. It's like a callus that develops in that tendon. And it goes right through, and we can see the insertion on the bump. You can feel this on your own anterior leg right there. That's the insertion. It's called tibial tuberosity. And this muscle, you can imagine pulling on here, it will extend the leg. It also can flex the thigh because it goes clear up to the ilium. This muscle, the very slender muscle that you see here that's been detached, is called the sartorius muscle. Sartorius relates to the word sartorial, splendor, your clothing. It means tailor. And tailor sitting means what I, as a child, called Indian sit, where you sit with your legs in this more or less position. It does all three of those actions, enables us to tailor sit, and thus the name sartorius. Over here, I can see the adductor muscles, which pull the thighs together, and those are the muscles that ache after a day of horseback riding, unless you do it daily, of course. Thin little muscle here, gracilis. Moving down here, this is actually, while I'm here, I should show you. This interesting vein is the great saphenous vein. In cardiovascular bypass surgery, this vein can be removed and used to replace veins or arteries within the heart. And the deep veins of the legs then will bring the blood from the lower body back to the heart. So just while we're there, we need to mention that. Okay, let's look at the lower leg here. And what we see here is the medial bone, the tibia. And I can see tibialis anterior with its tendon coming down this way. The next muscle would be extensor digitorum, which extends the digits, that is the toes. And peroneus longus, which means long pin.